And close to there, you've got some of the main bases in Colorado that are being set up by the Pentagon for Northcom. It is the real government of the United States. They've got a shadow Congress, a place for them to meet. They're in Colorado Springs, under the mountains. They admittedly have underground bases there. And I've talked to some of the workers that have been involved in it. It's all compartmentalized, but they've got giant underground connectors and systems there to bring Americans in on aircraft, to disappear underground into prisons and execution centers, but also to get the elites underground under biochemical, nuclear, radiological attack. Super creepy. And then you look at the mural, you know, a lot of it is Spanish Civil War, pre-World War II, clearly, and then that's basically from the communist perspective. And then it's got some other occultic New Age stuff and some Aztec shamanism involved in it. Very powerful art, and we're trying to contact, we have contacted the artist to tell us exactly what it means, or correct me if I'm wrong. But I think the artist was chosen not because they're a bad person. I think overall this is anti-fascist information by the globalists that have made Colorado the real capital of the U.S. in their own admissions, the capital of the shadow government, to just add to the foreboding. Because to the psychopaths, this is beautiful. This is not ugly. Because then you've got Anubis and all these other giant, weird Egyptian gods there, and pyramids, and as the guy said, mountains that start rising up where they're dumping the dirt and building for year after year. I mean, there's something weird going on there, and we'll continue to take your tips at Infowars.com. Okay, we're going to break, coming back with the fella that made all that news, and they said, is he real? Is he a yes man? Is it fake? He said Goldman Sachs is evil. It's got to be fake. Everybody knows they make the sun shine. It's Infowars Nightly News. Stay with us.
Out. The governments don't rule the world. Goldman Sachs rules the world. Goldman Sachs does not care about this rescue package, neither does the big funds. So actually, what I would actually tell people, I want to help people. People can make money from this. It isn't just traders.
Welcome back. It's Infowars Nightly News. That was a short clip from the interview that aired a week and a half, 2 weeks ago with the gentleman we're about to be talking with. And when Alessio Rastani came out and said those things that I've said, Max Keiser said, so many other economists we've talked to have basically said, the BBC reporter acted like, you know, he had said that the Pope was caught barbecuing small children on his front lawn or something. I mean, it was this feigned disbelief when it's well known the things he was talking about are pretty much accepted fact by anybody that can add 4 plus 4 together. But expanding on that, then we saw Forbes and all these other publications say, was it a hoax? Is it fake? He's not really a traitor. And so it really turned into the system panicking. Alessio Rastani has been a full-time trader for 6 years, focusing mostly on U.S. stock markets. He writes for the blog leadingtrader.com, highly visited site, a website dedicated to dismantling no BS information about trading. He currently lives and works in London, England. And we appreciate him joining us today because he caused quite a fracas by saying that the emperor was wearing no clothes. Why do you think they freaked out so bad and tried to imply it was a hoax, but later had to admit that it wasn't a hoax?
Hi, Alex. First of all, let me say thank you very much for having me in your show. It's a great honor. And I'm a big fan of Austin, Texas myself. Love to visit. But as to why I think it happened, for one thing, I think it was because it was too good to be true, maybe, for someone like someone who's a trader to come on TV and say those things. Because usually, you know, these financial pundits who come on TV, they don't say anything substantive. They just say the same old crap all the time, you know. So someone who actually spoke was someone actually said something which sounded true, seemed too good to be true for some of these guys, some of these, media folks. So maybe that was one reason. As for whether there was a conspiracy to discredit me, it's possible, but I don't know for sure.
Well, my point is I've seen other people on other prominent channels. Max Keiser, for one, coming up later. He had his own BBC show a few years ago and basically said similar things, because it's true, and there wasn't this big gasping and freaking out. I mean, I think a lot of it is because this stuff is so transparent now. It's so obvious that the emperor is wearing no clothes that when you pointed it out in a clear and concise way, it freaked them out. I mean, I've talked to people that are invited to Federal Reserve meetings to be let in, to the inside scoop if they're wealthy. And they say things are going to collapse. Here's how we profit. I know a lot of big stock traders. That is their big joke. So what you said was true. You said, hey, you can make a lot of money off this. And so you did let the cat out of the bag, or you let the general public know that they're on the menu for dinner. But let's now talk, unfettered, specifically from your years of trading, why you picked up this worldview and what some of the other traders around you say. I mean, let us into more of the secrets that seem to upset these people so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned secrets, because I don't think they are secrets. I know there's a lot of people, in the general public who don't know about these things, about the fact that traders, and even nowadays with technology, even ordinary people can make money when markets go down. But what I was talking about, I mean, you're right, Alex, because in a way, what I was talking about is what Goldman Sachs has been getting away with for years, which is basically dumping crap on people and then betting against the very same people, taking the opposite side of the action to what they themselves were selling. It happened in the dot-com crash, the year 2000. It happened in the Great Depression in the 1930s. It happened in the housing bubble, in the housing crash. So what I was saying to people is, look, these guys, these bankers, these idiots who got us into this mess in the first place, these guys are already making money by betting against you, by betting against everybody, the stock market. So now it's your turn. Don't be a chump. I'm not suggesting people should go out there and gamble with their money. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what I was trying to get out there is, there are ways that you too, and whether you're listening from home or anywhere, that you too can get on the same game that these guys have been doing for years. So I don't think it's a big secret, but some people obviously thought, well, this stuff is new.
Well, some have likened it to suicide bankers. Max Keiser, tells that documented story in the 9/11 Commission of a guy who stayed at his desk, even though the building was on fire, to make trades betting against airlines, and he made $5 million, but he died. It's almost this target psychosis or narcosis, where they get so obsessed with the mission that they're wrecking society. It's not free market. It's government has allowed them to do this and allowed certain inside players. And we saw the Timberwolf emails connected to the big banks saying, look at my dumb idiot customers. Man, they're morons. I'm going to sell them this SH blank T. Ha, ha, ha. You have earthquakes in Japan or earthquakes in the U.S., and invariably Goldman Sachs and other brokers put out the Twitter, oh, my wallet fell. I mean, just a total disconnection from humanity. Give me your view on that, because that's really what you were hitting upon, was the predatory nature.
See, the thing is, I'll be honest with you, Alex. Look, when I'm looking to short the markets, and in layman's terms, bet against the markets or make money downwards, I don't really think of it. Maybe I guess I should. Maybe I should think of it from a human standpoint, but I don't. For me, it's just a job. It's in the same way that the carpenter makes buildings, houses, and in the same way that the plumber fixes pipes, fireman does his job. For me, betting against the markets and selling short when markets crash, it's just part of the game. I don't really think of it in those kind of terms. whether people are, the fact is that companies are going bankrupt and people's jobs and pension is going down with it. I mean, I know it sounds terrible, but that's the truth. I don't think
you're just being honest about the current system. I mean, that's like with Bonnie and Clyde. They asked Clyde, why do you rob banks? He said, that's where the money's at. Or you've got the parable of the scorpion and the frog, and the scorpion says, will you take me across the river? And the frog says, you're going to sting me and kill me. He said, no, I promise, I'll be friendly. Take me across and I'll be nice. So the frog says, nice frog, says, get on my back. And when they go over the other side, the scorpion stings him, and the frog's in pain, dying. He says, why'd you kill me? He said, I'm a scorpion. And so I guess in a way, we're the sheep here to be gang raped, and the vampires are here to feed. And then they even call it free market. So the grassroots calls for socialism, which only helps the bankers more because now they can consolidate power and suck it off offshore. And I mean, it's kind of our bug-eyed, sheepish, mentally retarded lot to just sit here and be gang raped.
Right. I would say this, Alex. A lot of people do think that people who sell short, people who are betting against the markets, making money when the markets crash, that it's immoral. I personally do not believe that. I don't accept that view. Short sellers provide a good service to the markets. We can't do without them, basically because for two reasons. They provide liquidity in the markets. There's more activity, more liquidity, more money.
And it also brings balance from irrational exuberance. You must have missed what I was saying. I think you're a good guy. You're being honest. We could short big, evil, corrupt companies we don't like. I purely get it's just a tool, force of nature. I'm talking about Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, J.P. Morgan, the insiders who were exempt from SEC rules, whose former officers sit in the Federal Reserve and SEC, who've gotten tens of trillions of banker bailout money to back up their derivative crap, because you were bringing up people selling garbage. I'm talking about listing garbage as AAA. That's criminal. And that's what I'm talking about. You were getting off into, on the show that I saw on BBC about Goldman Sachs, making money in downtimes, and they rule the world, and they were freaking out about that. So, I mean, that was just them freaking out about the obvious. I was just going further to the point of the rest of the story, because you started to allude to how they're selling people toxic assets.
That's right, yeah. Well, that's absolutely true, and I would agree with you 100%, because Goldman Sachs has been behind, as I mentioned, almost every major crash in history. And a good example is the dot-com crash. I myself, actually, Alex, was a victim of that crash. I was one of these donkeys in the year 2000 who bought these dot-com crap because, again, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just following the same strategy everyone else did: buy and hold stocks, and eventually you make money. What I didn't realize is, as I do realize now, is that Goldman Sachs, along with a whole bunch of other people, J.P. Morgan, everyone else, these guys have been overinflating these technology stocks, inflating this bubble through a number of processes, which you probably know about. Like one is called laddering, where basically you promise your clients that you're going to give them a lower price of the stock. And eventually you say down the line, you will buy it at a higher price. So almost kind of guaranteeing that the price of the stock is going to rise and rise, by this kind of manipulation. So yeah, Goldman Sachs been around, they've been behind every major crash in history. And again, dumping these crappy stocks onto unaware investors and then betting against the very same people.
Sure, they invented the pump and dump. And